everyone, it's NonnaGrace. I just kicked the camera. Hi. I just came in from locking the chickens in. It's after 7 and I went to lock the chickens in and Jim had tightened up the fence and I couldn't undo the door, so he had to untie all of his knots that he tightened up the fencing with. And you should have heard the roosters and the chickens. It was like mayhem out there with them squawking and like something's going on that shouldn't be going on. It's getting dark now, so I had to actually go out there and walk one of my chickens into the house because it says, "It's such lovely weather. I don't want to go to bed yet." But he went to bed. Well, what I wanted to talk about today was my honeymoon and some of the places I went. Now, I got married in 1980, July 26, 1980. And we traveled not real far from where we lived, but far enough to where it was parts of the world or parts of New York, not the world, that I had never seen. And we went to Cooperstown, Baseball Hall of Fame. We went there, and while we were there, we went on a little boat cruise. Well, I get motion sick real easy, so I took some Dramamine, and the Dramamine knocked me out. So I don't remember really any of the boat ride, except for when I got off, the person that did the tour asked me if I had a good nap. And the boat tour that we went on was the Chief Uncas? I have no idea. But this is where we went. I saved it. And it cost at the time $5 for adults, $2.50 for children, and anybody under 3 was free. So that's what we went on. And before we went on this little boat tour, it was showing, actually what it was doing is it was showing all the beautiful houses, the backyards of all these beautiful houses along the lake that we were on, and the Lake Oswego. I say it wrong, but that's the picture of the lake. But anyways, we went on there, and it was, before we went on, we went to the little grocery store that was there and bought a loaf of bread that was a solid loaf of bread, some cheese, some pepperoni, and some fluff stuff, and 2 spoons, because we didn't have any, and we bought a knife, because we had to cut the pepperoni and the bread we had to rip. So we had like a little Italian kind of picnic while we waited for the boat. We also went to the Baseball Hall of Fame, and we went to, let me get my paper, it's over here. Oh dear, I should have had it closer. Okay, first we went to Letchworth State Park, and we stayed at the Glen Iris Inn. It's a beautiful inn. When you stayed at the inn just has the bed, the dresser, the bathroom. There is no television, no radio, no clock, no nothing in those rooms. It's an inn that was just for sleeping, basically. And downstairs they had a really nice dining room, and so we ate in the dining room. And we went to the Corning Glass Factory. I don't know if anybody has been to the Corning Glass Factory, where they show all the glass that they blow, and you actually get to watch them blow the glass. And it was really interesting. We went back again not long ago, maybe a couple years ago, and boy, it has changed a lot. We went to the Fenimore House, which was at the Farmers Museum, and that was, I wanted to buy a cane at the time. There was a cane they had for sale. And the cane, I think, was like $7. But in the 1980, that was a lot of money, I thought, for just a cane. What was I going to do with this cane? But it was a really nice wooden piece of wood that they had varnished, and it was decorated with carvings. It was really pretty. I probably should have bought it, because today it would be a whole lot more than $7. Then we went into a little shop. They have a whole street in Cooperstown where you can't drive a car. And we went into this little shop. And when we were in this little shop, I saw this elephant. And I thought, oh, that is a beautiful elephant. I apparently had never seen elephants or something in a case. And I thought, wow, I've got to have that elephant. Well, this elephant, I bought it. It was made in the Philippines. It's still got its little sticker on the bottom. And I think it was probably about $9, which was a lot for an elephant. But I really wanted this elephant, so we bought an elephant. And since that time, I have a lot of elephants. My kids every year will give me an elephant. I have probably, I don't know how many elephants, at least 25 or 30 elephants. I have even a wax warmer that has an elephant. I have a picture that my daughter wood burned as an elephant. One of these videos I will take out all my elephants, line them all up so you can see them, because they're in a cabinet right now, which makes it very hard to see the elephants. I've gone to candle parties, and I don't need any more candles. I've got tons of candles. In fact, I have a basket of candles, so when you go into a room, you know how when you go into a store, you smell the candles before you see the candles? Well, I have a room that's how it is. When you enter the room, you can smell the candles. You know they're in there because they're letting off all their pretty scents. So that's where I went on my honeymoon. Oh, and another thing we did on our honeymoon was we walked through a cemetery. We had gotten to this one hotel, and I don't even know where it was, and it was still a little daylight, and we didn't feel like, there was not much to do around there. So I said, well, let's go walk through that cemetery. So we went walking through a cemetery, and we're reading the headstones of, it was an old cemetery. It was kind of interesting, and we'd look for the ones that had pictures on the stones, and read about when they were born and when they died, and it was rather interesting to do that. So that was what we did on our honeymoon, and it was first time I was slept in a car. I never could sleep in a car, but I was so tired, and I must have trusted Jim's driving, because when my brother would drive, I always stayed awake because I was afraid that he might fall asleep, and I apparently could sleep, and it was a very nice trip to go to Cooperstown. So if you ever want a nice trip that's kind of fun, Cooperstown, the Baseball Hall of Fame was interesting. We did go into the Hall of Fame. I'm not interested in baseball, but it was interesting. So that's it for today. Enjoy your evening, and I will talk to you again tomorrow. Bye.